Love doesn't just change your life, it rewires your entire inner world. Love doesn't enter your life gently. It arrives like a quiet earthquake. People think love is an emotion, a feeling, a spark, a moment. But psychologically, love is far bigger than that. It is a transformation of the entire inner world. Your nervous system shifts. Your perception sharpens. Your identity bends. Love rewires how you breathe, how you think, how you move through the world. Carl Jung once described love as a transformative encounter with the unconscious, a force that exposes parts of you that logic alone could never reveal. Love isn't something you feel, love is something that happens to you. It reorganizes your inner architecture. It softens defenses you thought were permanent. It awakens desires you buried long ago. Erich Fromm said that love is not a passive experience, but a creative act, one that reshapes the lover as much as the beloved. And he was right, love changes the one who gives it, not just the one who receives it. Real love doesn't ask permission. It rewrites you. It doesn't knock. It enters. It doesn't whisper. It shifts your entire internal landscape. And the moment you let it in, nothing inside you stays the same. Love doesn't just touch the heart. It storms the brain. The moment you fall for someone, your chemistry detonates. Dopamine surges like a wildfire, turning every interaction into a reward, every touch into a high. This is why early love feels addictive, because biologically it is. Neuroscientist Helen Fisher describes romantic attraction as a motivation system, not an emotion, a drive as intense as hunger or thirst. Then comes oxytocin, the bonding chemical. One moment of closeness, one vulnerable conversation, one shared silence, and suddenly they feel safe, familiar, almost inevitable. Oxytocin rewires your nervous system to relax in their presence, lowering defenses you've carried for years. But love isn't just warmth, it's chaos. Serotonin levels drop in early love, which is why anxiety spikes, why you overthink, why you fear losing what you just found. The mind becomes a battlefield between desire and uncertainty. Slowly, the brain restructures itself around this person. Neural pathways strengthen. Habits shift. Even your emotional reflexes recalibrate. Love changes how you interpret the world and how the world interprets you. This is why love feels overwhelming. It is your biology being rewritten in real time. Love doesn't start by giving you comfort. It starts by cracking your armor, the armor you built through years of disappointment, loneliness, and survival. Psychologically, every person develops emotional defenses, walls made of sarcasm, distance, silence, or independence. These defenses protect you, but they also isolate you. And then love arrives not as a gentle invitation, but as a mirror. Suddenly, the wounds you've hidden start to surface. The abandonment you never spoke about. The fear of not being enough. The belief that closeness is dangerous. Love exposes them all. Vulnerability becomes terrifying because love demands that you put down the weapons that once kept you safe. Alfred Adler believed that true love requires letting go of superiority, the instinct to stay guarded, to stay in control, to stay untouchable. Love forces you out of the illusion that you don't need anyone. This is why love feels risky. It asks you to be seen fully, entirely, without performance, without protection. And in that exposure, something changes. You realize your armor wasn't strength. It was fear, and love, in its quiet brutality, begins to break it open so you can finally breathe as your real self. Love does not enter an empty mind. It awakens everything you've ever felt before. When you fall for someone, you're not just meeting a new person, you're meeting your past, your childhood, your fears, your long-buried memories. Psychologists call this your attachment pattern, the emotional blueprint created in your earliest relationships. If you grew up with safety, love feels like coming home, calm, natural, familiar. If you grew up with inconsistency, love becomes a storm, intense, unpredictable, overwhelming. If you learn to survive alone, love feels threatening, like losing control. John Bowlby, the father of attachment theory, believed that the way we love as adults is shaped long before we even know what love means. Partners don't just trigger emotions, they trigger imprints, echoes of how you were held or how you weren't. This is why some people chase closeness while others run from it. Why affection can feel soothing to one person and suffocating to another. Love reaches into the oldest parts of you, the parts untouched by logic. It reactivates wounds you forgot you had, and comfort you didn't know you were missing. And in that moment, you realize love isn't just romance. It's memory, it's reflection, it's the rewriting or repeating of the story you grew up in. Love is not just a connection, it is a reflection. When someone enters your life with depth, with intention, with presence, they become a mirror. Suddenly, you begin to see parts of yourself you never noticed, the softness you hid, the anger you suppressed, the desire you denied. Psychology calls this projection. It's the reason we idealize someone in the beginning, seeing them as perfect, magical, almost otherworldly. And it's also the reason we fear them later, because they start revealing traits we don't want to confront. Carl Jung believed that romantic love is one of the strongest forms of projection. We project our shadow, the rejected, abandoned parts of our personality, onto the person we fall for. We don't just fall in love with them. We fall in love with the version of ourselves they awaken. This is why love feels intense, overwhelming, sometimes even destabilizing. It's not just their eyes you're lost in. It's the reflection of your own soul staring back. And when they pull away, or disappoint you, the pain feels unbearable because it feels like losing a part of yourself. Love is the mirror that exposes who you really are, not who you pretend to be. Love is beautiful, but it is never safe. The moment you care for someone deeply, you hand them a kind of power. No one else has the power to hurt you in ways you can't hurt yourself, and the power to heal wounds you didn't know were still open. That's why emotional investment feels terrifying. You're not just opening your heart, you're surrendering control. Love makes you vulnerable in a way nothing else can. You fear losing them more than you fear losing yourself. You fear disappointment more than solitude. You fear abandonment more than silence. Nietzsche once wrote about love as a force with both creative and destructive potential. Love can build you into someone stronger, softer, more alive, but it can also shatter your illusions, break your defenses, and expose your deepest insecurities. And here's the truth. Love forces you to confront your own fragility. It shows you how deeply you can feel, how easily you can fall, how much another human being can matter. That risk, that raw vulnerability is what makes love powerful, because only something that can break you can also transform you. Love is not just an emotion, it is an evolution. Real love matures you in ways solitude never could. It stretches the mind, expands the heart, and forces you to grow into a bigger version of yourself. Through love, you learn empathy, not the idea of it, but the lived experience of feeling someone else's inner world as if it were your own. You learn patience not because it's easy, but because someone's presence becomes worth waiting for. You develop emotional intelligence, the ability to listen, to understand, to respond instead of react. This is why love is not dependency, it's discovery. Every connection teaches you something about who you are, what you fear, what you value, what you're capable of. Love becomes a path inward, as much as a path toward another person. Viktor Frankl believed that seeing the essence of another person, their depth, their potential, their soul awakens your own sense of meaning. And in love, you don't just witness someone else's truth, you discover your own. Love evolves you, it refines you, it shapes you into someone who can feel deeply without drowning and give deeply without losing yourself. When love ends, it doesn't disappear, it detonates. Heartbreak doesn't feel emotional, it feels physical. Your chest aches, your appetite disappears, your sleep collapses. And there's a reason for that. Psychologists say heartbreak functions like withdrawal. The same chemicals that made love feel addictive, dopamine, oxytocin, crash instantly, leaving the body in shock. But it's not just chemistry, it's identity. When love breaks, the version of yourself that existed with that person breaks too. The routines, the dreams, the habits, the emotional rhythms all dissolve. You're not just losing someone, you're losing the world you built with them. Michel Foucault wrote about suffering as a force that reshapes identity. Pain destroys old structures, but in the destruction, it creates space for a new self to emerge. Heartbreak works the same way. In the silence after the loss, you begin to rebuild slowly, quietly, painfully, and each piece you put back together is stronger, clearer, more intentional. Healing is not about going back. Healing is about becoming someone you couldn't access while your heart was still attached. This is the rebirth, the moment you realize the break didn't end you, it redesigned you. Here's the truth most people never say out loud. Love doesn't change your life, it changes you. Every stage of love transforms something inside you. The chemistry rewires your brain. The closeness reshapes your fears. The vulnerability cracks your armor. The loss breaks you open. And the healing rebuilds you into someone wiser, deeper, more awake. Psychologically, love is an evolution, a catalyst that forces you to confront who you've been, who you are, and who you're capable of becoming. It exposes your wounds, expands your emotional capacity, and whispers truths that logic alone could never teach you. Carl Jung believed that love reveals the hidden personality, the parts of yourself you abandoned in order to survive the world. Nietzsche saw love as a force that pushes us beyond ourselves. Adler viewed it as a demand for courage. Foucault saw suffering as a rebirth of identity. Viktor Frankl saw meaning inside connection. And together, all their ideas point to one reality. Love is the force that returns you to yourself, not the version shaped by fear, but the version you were before life hardened you. Love doesn't simply enter your world, it awakens the world within you that you forgot existed. In the end, love is not a moment, not an accident, not a chapter in your life. Love is the story unfolding inside you. It is the quiet force that awakens memories you buried, emotions you denied, dreams you silenced. It is the gentle earthquake that shakes loose the parts of you that were never meant to stay hidden. Love is the mirror that reveals your softness, your courage, your wounds, your depth, and maybe that's the real beauty of it. Love doesn't just connect you to someone else, it reconnects you to yourself. So let this be your final reflection. In the end, love is not something that happens to you. It's something that awakens you to the parts of yourself you thought were gone. Every person you've loved, every heartbreak you've survived, every connection that shaped you, they were all chapters in your inner evolution. They didn't just change your life, they changed you. And as the world fades to silence, remember this. Love is not the story you share with another. Love is the story you rediscover within your own soul.